Hi everyone, I'm Margarita Muradova, a personal stylist and wardrobe consultant from Kyiv, Ukraine, and we're live from Kyiv, Ukraine as well, from our office space in our apartment. And in today's video, we're going to talk about blazers, do's and don'ts. And actually, I've been thinking about starting a series about different kinds of clothes in your wardrobe and their do's and don'ts and what to look at when you're choosing, for example, like a blazer or a skirt or a turtleneck or a pair of jeans, etc., and what to stray away from, etc. So let me know in the comments below if you're interested in this kind of series, and I will definitely make sure we invest our time into creating this series for you, because there's been a lot of times in my life working with clients, and I've been working with clients as a personal stylist for more than 10 years now at this point, when I've seen an item in their wardrobe and on paper it sounds good, but in all actuality, when you look at this specific item, for example, like a pair of jeans, it just doesn't work. And it also concerns blazers a lot, and I've seen a lot of mistakes made with blazers specifically in people's wardrobes, and that's the reason for starting this series actually, because I think most of the time, when something is named like a pair of denim or a blazer, it's not necessarily going to be an actual blazer, if you know what I mean, especially if you're going to the mass market. And that's what we're gonna focus on today. So the first things we need to know about blazers for sure, the do's for blazers are the sleeves of your blazer. Most of the time, if you want your blazer to fit you perfectly, should hit mid-thumb when your arms are down at your sides, so that you can roll them up, you can roll them down. The blazer is going to look like it fits you, like it's your size, because if it's kind of short, it always looks weird, especially when there's like a shirt or a turtleneck or a long sleeve involved, because most of the time you don't necessarily want to see the layer that's down below the blazer all the time. Most of the time you actually want to see the sleeve of a blazer first, and then if you want to, you actually roll up the sleeves and you see the sleeve of a shirt or a turtleneck or whatever it is. But most of the time, like 99% of the time, what you want to see and what you have to see is the sleeve of your blazer, so it always has to be longer than anything that's below it. So what I do most of the time recommend, especially for the taller girls, always try the blazers on, and you can actually go a size up for the blazer to have a longer sleeve, especially if you're a taller girl, and then you can try to fit your blazer in a tailor shop, or you can always go, this is my super tip, you could always go to the men's section. First of all, their blazers are absolutely beautiful, amazing, and definitely much better quality most of the time than in women's section, especially in the mass market. Most of the time also in the middle market as well. But what you'll see is their sleeves are longer, so that will work for taller girls for sure. And then you can always go to the tailors and tailor the blazer to make it fit you perfectly, like cinch it in the waist and take up a couple of inches of sleeves, etc. So whatever you need, can always do that because the blazer is bigger. So always try to go for kind of a bigger blazer in that sense if you're going for a long sleeve, and just always go for the long sleeve because that's just more versatile. You can always work with that. You can roll it up, roll it down, you know what I mean. And regarding sizing up, always try to size up. Only time you don't have to size up, you don't necessarily need to size up, is actually when you're going for a very fitted blazer, like a body-hugging blazer or an hourglass figured blazer, for example, an hourglass shape in Dior or Balenciaga, when the blazer is supposed to fit you that way, like very cinched in the waist. That's the only time you need to go for your size. All the other time, most of the time, especially if you're going for the middle market and mass market, I'd always suggest going at least one size up for the blazer to look more loose and luxurious and voluminous on you, because that's going to give you a better overall outfit as well, and it's going to give more beautiful proportions to your look. There's only a couple of brands that I know of that always size up on their own, so their stuff are definitely most of the time oversized. For example, Acne Studios. If you're going for your size, it's going to be 2 sizes bigger than you, so you don't have to go a size up because you still will have a blazer, for example, 2 sizes bigger than you, so that's not an issue in their brand. But most of the time, definitely size up, especially if you're going for the mass market, because then you'll at least have more volume to work with. Also, the reason to go a size up, especially if you love layering, is because if something is kind of a thick or on the thick side, for example, that could be a jumper, that could be a cardigan, wears a top, etc., or that could be 2 things, for example, that could be a blouse or a shirt, and then that's going to be another layer of a knit, and only then you put on a blazer. This blazer better be thick and voluminous and like big enough to fit all of this, yet to look kind of loose still, even though there's so many layers underneath that blazer, if you know what I mean. So what I usually suggest for you, if we're going for this like mid-season transitional piece, etc., always go for a size up for sure, because there's going to be a lot of layers beneath the blazer, so it needs to fit that as well, and also it needs to look voluminous and beautiful and create a beautiful shape on you. The next thing is an absolute must, always go for only structured blazers. And a structured blazer is a blazer that definitely holds its shape on its own. And the way to check that, if you put the blazer and you take it by the label, the blazer that's not very structured is going to fall down and look like just like a simple hanging piece of clothing, like piece of material, so no structure, very loose, just like a blanket or whatever. And if you're taking a structured blazer and doing this to it, what you'll end up with is still a specific shape, because the shoulders are definitely going to drop down. Obviously, it's not made of steel, but it still will hold its shape. So you'll see the shoulders, you'll see the structure, you'll see the thickness of material. That's the blazer you need to go for in order to have a beautiful look and to complete your outfits more, because a structured blazer definitely creates more structure and gives more geometric shape to a look, and geometric shapes are the thing that definitely make or break an outfit. So what you need to go for is a structured blazer. Always check your blazers like this. And the majority of blazers that are at fault here are definitely mass market blazers, especially like Zara blazers. They're definitely at fault in terms of creating those like very loose cardigan-y types of blazers that don't hold their shape, that look absolutely like really bad. The material is really bad, very thin, it doesn't hold its shape. So when you put something underneath it, God forbid like a blouse or a thicker shirt, you will end up with like wrinkles and crinkles on the material of the blazer sleeve, which would look absolutely not okay and would definitely ruin your look. The don't of a blazer, definitely, apart from being too like unstructured, the next don't is definitely looking at a blazer's lining. And a blazer, if that's not a cardigan, it has to have a lining. The only exception over here is a cardigan blazer that's more on the knitwear side. That's like a mix of cardigan and a blazer. It has a blazer structure but a cardigan material. That's the only exception and the only time in your life you need to go for a blazer with no lining. Otherwise, always go for a blazer with a good lining and with a good stitching, for the blazer to have more shape and volume to it, and also to have more structure to it in order for it to complete your looks. And the next don't is, like most of the time, if not all the time, always skip blazers with sleeves that are rolled up initially, like, and stitched like that. So you can always see blazers like this, like in Zara and Mango, etc., especially in this, like, also like in H&M, in this like office section. There's always this like office wear section in all those mass market brands, where you go into there and you like, it's like a time machine into the 2000s, and you can see those like very weird not very trendy and also not very flattering, like black thin skirts, and also these like rolled up sleeves, pre-made rolled up sleeves on jackets and blazers that look absolutely not okay, that definitely ruin a look, because the roll up of the sleeve, it looks fake, like it looks like it was rolled up previously, it's not rolled up by you. And also it would not work with most of your like shirts and like t-shirts, whatever, because the sleeve of those things is going to pop out. It's going to look kind of weird. And also most of these blazers are also on the thinner side, not structured, etc. So when a blazer is bad, it's like really bad, because when you see a blazer most of the time in the mass market section, not all of them, but most of them, they have a lot of these components that are not really good. So they are thin, they're also structureless, they also have this rolled up sleeve, etc, etc. So it's not like one thing that's going on for them, it's not really good. It's usually a lot of things that's going on for them that's not really good. So try to avoid those things in order to go for a better blazer. And the best place to actually get your blazers at is most of the time vintage markets, vintage stores, vintage boutiques, online, offline, whatever it is. Because vintage blazers, especially if you go to the men's section in a vintage store, there's nothing like it. They're the best. Structured, beautiful, basic colors most of the time, the stitching is beautiful, amazing lining, amazing natural materials, as opposed to women's section where you usually end up with like polyester, etc, etc. Men's section, it's like wool, it's like cashmere, etc, etc. So it's like silk. It's always luxury materials and the prices are just absolutely ridiculously low. So one of the secrets of creating a beautiful blazer collection, a beautiful quality blazer collection, is actually going for the vintage store and also the men's section in the vintage store, but also go for the men's section in any store and you'll end up with an amazing blazer that's actually also weirdly sometimes kind of priced lower and differently than in women's section, which is absolutely astonishingly crazy, but it is what it is. But those are the keys to get your beautiful blazer collection and to make sure all the blazers in your collection are quality pieces that will complement your look and yourself, and also pieces that will last you forever and work with everything within your wardrobe. So let me know in the comments below if you love blazers the way that I love blazers. How many blazers do you have in your collection? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!